we were talking about the Real American Freestyle debuting this past Saturday, Brian. But Hulk Hogan's also been in the news in regards to a lot of stuff's been said about his passing. Numerous people have talked about it, but according to the Daily Mail, like I said, I don't know how credible this is, but they said Sky Daily is planning to file a lawsuit against at least one of Hogan's doctors for medical malpractice that she believes led to his death back in July. The outlet reports that the lawsuit will be centered around Hogan's neck surgery, which happened back in May. On the day of his death, an occupational therapist told police that Hogan's, I want to say, thoracic, how do you say that? Or one of his nerves in his neck had been severed during the surgery. This has grown legs, Brian, and not I can say not in a good way.
No, it has not. Here's what I'm gonna say before I say anything. This is pure speculation. I know nothing. I don't actually want to know nothing. It's a topic that we're talking about and things that we've all heard and maybe inside heard and all this kind of stuff. So I just want to say this is not gospel here. This is just me saying a couple things. All right. I believe there's something that happened. I don't know what it is. I do know one thing that's for sure that I was told. Whether that's true or not, I can't say that either. Someone that knew something. And I know that when Hulk went home, I know that they did it like a Michael Jackson type deal, where it was in the middle of the night. They went to the house, backed up in the driveway. No one could see him. Apparently, he was rolled out right into his home. Okay. So, not in great shape from leaving the hospital. So, he wasn't released per se in a good way from the hospital. The autopsy thing is where I'm really, really, really confused about. I don't understand why his wife, children that were involved, all of them were not, but the ones that were, or there's only one that was, um, didn't demand this autopsy to figure out what happened to their daddy and their husband. Which leads me to believe that there may have been some things that went awry. It sucks that a man can't die in death, can't just die in peace and just an icon, by the way. I just think that, there's more to this thing. I don't know the ins and outs. I know that his buddy, Bubba the Love Sponge, um, if you don't know who he is, he's a guy that's out in Florida, has a radio show. He was involved in a deal with Hogan, lawsuit thing with the tape that came out that kind of destroyed Hogan's career moving forward and whatnot. None of that matters to me. All I'm saying is, according to Bubba, his sources, this stuff was true. But then again, today I heard Bubba apologize to not only his wife, but the doctors because apparently he was wrong, which leads me to more red flags to where someone has maybe privied him up to shut the fuck up, leave it alone. Here, but all I'll say is this, and I'll leave it alone. God bless Hulk Hogan. I'm sorry. You're a huge loss. I don't know why an autopsy wasn't done is my biggest thing. Why? Especially a guy of his caliber, a guy of his stature. Why would you not do an autopsy to figure out why your husband and your kid's dad died and what exactly it was? I just don't know. But anyway, I'll leave it at that and let the floor be used, boys.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah, it's
there's a lot
one
to
of
take away
those.
from.
Go ahead, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
No, there's a lot to take away from it. Like you said, Brian. Apparently, there's a possible pending lawsuit, according to Hulk's widow. Um, she ordered a private autopsy. Apparently, is that Is that
It
what
wa-
I read? I think I
That's what
read.
I've seen. Yeah.
yes, and they came
Yeah.
up with that
Yeah,
the whatever that long word was
that
for a heart attack.
well, they said severed a phrenic nerve in the neck or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So they're right.
You're right. So, um, you know, now that possibly could have led to. I don't know exactly the what the phrenic nerve does, but apparently if it's severed, like they say it was, my understanding is it'll cause labored breathing,
Mhm.
and that could have contributed to things because, um, it's funny. Like we've said this before on this show that Jimmy Hart, like the week before, said he saw Hulk and everything was fine. He looked great, and all of a sudden, just went south. You know,
Well, Jimmy, not
and
only that, Eric Bischoff mentioned something.
yeah,
Hmm.
Jimmy had actually, his verbalization was him and Nick and Hogan were doing karaoke.
right.
Hmm.
I mean, okay, so where are we at here? You know what I mean?
So if that's the
Well,
case, oh, sorry.
Eric Bischoff actually mentioned that his version contradicts Human Hearts. So I know Jimmy's very like going to protect. I know Jimmy's a sweetheart of a man, but Jimmy's also going to like he's old school and going to protect. Oh, he's fine, baby.
Hmm.
Where Eric is more obviously now it was after the passing, but Eric is very open about. I went to the hospital. I saw him. I went to the house, whatever. Saw him. He was all laid up. He was whatever.
Right.
I'm just So I believe Eric's encounter more than I do Jimmy's,
Hmm.
just because Eric seemed to. Why would he lie? About going there and all that. So
True.
So the phrenic nerve, guys, I just looked it up, and it is a crucial nerve that plays a vital role in breathing.
Yeah.
It originates from the cervical spinal cord, the C3, C4, and C5 nerve roots.
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
he did have surgery done on his neck.
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah, yeah, and that's what they mentioned.
if big capital IF, if that is the case and that was severed, the next surgery could have been where it happened, possibly.
Yeah,
Right.
Again, we're
unfortunately.
just speculating here because,
Yes.
I, first of all, I've watched House 100 million episodes of House. I still don't know how to do surgery, so I'm not a doctor.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, so
Well, wait, but you can watch 100 wrestling matches and know exactly how to wrestle. Know what if somebody
well,
rushed a
that's
spot or
true.
if they botched
That's
botched the spot and all that because
Yeah,
apparently you're an expert
yeah,
and you know that.
yeah.
So you should be an expert at surgery too. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I went on a
Hey,
little tangent there.
no, but I've
Yeah.
been a fan of medical shows for 50 years now. So, geez, hey, I could walk into any building now and perform surgery right away.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And I want to be the voice of this show to say this that this is just a headline in the wrestling news that we're just touching on and giving
Mhm.
opinions on. We
Right.
don't know shit. Okay. We don't know anything. So we're going to find out like all of you guys. So we're just talking about what we think and what we've heard. Um,
Yeah.
it, Actually, it's not even what we think. It's just what we heard. We're playing off of what we heard. Is any of
Mhm.
this true? We have no idea. But something's not right. We know that. Because if
Mm.
there's a lawsuit being entered, that means something is a little fishy.
Mm.
Mhm.
We've talked about numerous times, not just tonight and this week, but as a show about the culture of professional wrestling, back from, when Jimmy was in it, when Brian it was in it, to now with Daniel, and then going forward with our future referees and the talent. But Daniel, man, we've seen a lot of change in the wrestling culture over the last, last few number of months. But it just, what do you contribute to that change in the culture? Is it just a matter of the times?
No entitlement. Is what this generation has. And I'm gonna say
Mhm.
this, and this is just something that I've noticed. We talk about things not getting taught very well, or not getting taught anymore. Obviously, we know about referees are not taught. There's not a referee school they can go to because there isn't one or whatever, right? But it's some of the things that happen with being taught is the fundamentals of the business And what I mean by that is that when you're coming up in the business, you do everything from the ground up. If you if you're a top star in that little indie company, what's something you're doing? You're also help setting up the ring. You're also driving the ring truck. You're also doing those things to sell tickets. You're pushing. That's the whole point of it all. And for some reason, I see a lot, like I have seen it on the indie side, a lot of just guys just kind of like, oh, everything's going to be set up when I get here. Like, and I believe that unfortunately, I think that we've missed a lot of, there's a lot of things that come with that, a lot of lessons to be learned, a lot of respect and things that come with when you do those dirty deeds and help do that stuff, load the ring trucks, build the ring, do all that kind of thing. And the key, and you don't have to shake people's hands, but saying hello to everybody, making sure you say hello, introduce yourself, who you are, why you're there, what you're doing at the show, asking if you can help, be a runner, go out and do so. Hey, you need something? I gotta go. I go get it right now. Whether it's something for the show or something for the talent or something for the promoter, whatever it may be, things like that. I believe we don't talk about it enough, but it's completely lost. Yes, we get WB. WB has people they hire to do all that stuff, 100%. Except for some of the refs who moonlight as both the ring crew and talent refs. But it's when you don't do those things, you truly, truly, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, you don't have enough respect for the business and you have this entitlement, and that causes um, you know issues with the culture of the rest of the day. There's my take, the hot take there.
I don't I don't disagree with anything you said, Daniel. That sense of entitlement. As soon as you said that word entitlement, that's when I said, okay, 100% agree. It doesn't matter where you go from there. That's the main word,
Yeah,
entitlement. And it's not just in wrestling, it's in life in general. Everybody
yeah,
feels that they're entitled, but it's filtered down to wrestling so bad that it almost feels like it's worse
hmm
amongst the IWC and the wrestling community because everybody knows everything now. Everybody is an expert. Everybody, especially everybody talks about these shows that are out there and like like WWE Unreal. They're saying,
hmm
well, there was nothing there that I didn't really know about anyways, so they didn't really show me anything that was new. Well, guess what? They showed you what they wanted to show you.
yeah,
There's still much more that people don't know about. It's like I tried to, I think I said it here a week or two ago when we were first talking about that show. They're showing you the nuts and bolts, but they haven't given you the toolbox and the tools to put those nuts and bolts together.
yeah.
So people don't have a clue. You may know, but you don't understand. That's the problem. People think they understand and they don't. They're,
You want somebody that was probably the most entitled person uh that in the wrestling business of the last 40 years that could have literally walked in and said, I want whatever job they wanted in WWE and WBF at the time, and they would have got it. But
Well,
they did not
wow.
do that. They started from the ground up. They hopped in the ring truck. They drove the ring truck. They did everything from building the ring.
and
They did the most dirtiest jobs ever. And let
I know
alone
who you're talking about.
they decided to then they end up becoming top dog in the company, top talent, very important who they are, and they started from the bottom and they worked their way up, and they had every right to be entitled because of who their dad was, Shane McMahon.
Show me
He
the
got it.
money, money, money,
Yep.
money.
He got it. He understood it, and he had the respect from everybody. He had he respected the business more than anybody else because of the fact that he did that from the ground up. And Stephanie the same way. She did it from the ground up too. She
Hmm.
didn't just walk in and get it too. And
Right.
that was because they wanted to prove that they belonged there, not because of who their dad
Hmm.
was.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
once again, guys, we go back to what we talked about earlier in the show when Jimmy was talking about, um, you know, it was back, back then it was different. People didn't do that. It was more like they respected it, mobbing
Yeah,
guys and stuff. It's the same thing. It's
yeah,
it's just a different generation that feels entitled. And it's
Mhm.
everything you guys said. It's these shows that they're able to see. It's the phones and all that stuff. Um, and wrestlers that come in fresh, like say off this ID and go into NXT and stuff like that. I've seen or heard of many of them being just gotten rid of because they're just like, you're pieces of shit.
Mhm.
You don't understand how this works. It's like, as Daniel kind of alluded to, it's like, or Jimmy to, I'm sorry. Look, we'll show you the ring and all the parts. Now you put the bits together. You think you know the parts and stuff you need. Yeah, you do. You do. You got all of them. Now put this bitch together.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, and to get the outside view on it, if I may, obviously with the three of you being in the business or have been in the business, you get that side of view. But for me, everybody knows I got a 13-year-old son, Gavin. There's been numerous times across numerous promotions, whether it's AEW, WWE, and TNA, ROH, whatever. We're watching a show, and he's like, "Oh, I heard about this person." I said, "Okay." I'm like, "What do you think?" He's like, "Oh, it's real." I said, "Buddy, don't believe everything you see and everything you hear. You take." I'm trying to teach him or guide him, I should say, to look at the business as a whole, as a whole, not specific things, not believing everything you see or hear or whatever. And that kind of leads me to my next thing is, are we really, is there anything left to protect about the wrestling business? Jimmy, you brought up the Unreal. We saw, fans mobbing superstars, talent going from, the venue to their Uber or to their Lyft or whatever. Is there really anything out there that we still can, not we, excuse me, that the talent can protect?
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's been
Yes.
proven.
Yep.
Yes, it's been proven. You can protect. I'll give you a perfect example. John Cena's heel turn. You could say it didn't go the way they had hoped, which caused him to go back to being a babyface. And in essence, the quote unquote failure of that heel turn, not the execution of it, because that was brilliant. I love that the way that came out. It was what came afterwards that people were not happy with, and it didn't go well. Let's be honest, it didn't go well. But it also made this new babyface turn back to being a babyface so much better because now we're getting to see the real John.
Well,
And
yeah, but also too, and I'll say this. Sorry to cut you out there, Jimmy.
no, no, it's all right.
Is Jimmy? John brought it up to on the post show. He said basically the fans they booed, but then they were still cheering because they wanted to cheer him. He says, so
Mhm.
really, he goes, they were booing Punk or booing Randy, and it's like, why? Like what? Okay, so this ain't working. Because they know that this is his final ride. I think if they never said this was his last ride, it would have worked. I think the
Right,
fact that they said it's his last ride, you wanted to cheer him because you're like, I'm never going to see him again, and I
Mhm.
appreciate him now.
Right,
And
right.
because again, they knew too much. But to go back on, what RJ was questioning on, there is still a lot to be protected of. I mean, this
Mhm.
business, you still, no matter what type of industry you've come from, or what type of industry you're in now, or what kind of job you're having, until you've been in this business, you still don't understand the business.
Mhm.
And that'll always be protected, the understanding of the business until you get in it. No matter how much dirt sheets you read, no matter how much pull back the curtain we do, there's still things you do not know until
Mhm.
you're actually in it. And there's unfortunately, again, there's only one way to know it, and that's being in it. And I think you guys will agree on that.
Absolutely.
I agree 100%. And I'll say this. I know me and Jimmy for a fact, and I know you, Daniel, at this point, because you were taught by, I guess, Earl. Um,
The goat, the goat.
there, there are things. Now, RJ is on our panel. RJ knows probably more than what he should know, but he does not
Right.
know things that me, Jimmy, and Daniel will ever give him. And
Right.
that is a fact. It's
No.
nothing. It's nothing against RJ. It's
I
just that
and I don't want to know, and I don't want to know.
I'm bringing an example. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying you want to know. I bet you do. But
He does.
but of course he does. But what I'm saying is there are things that I'm never giving up. There are things that
Right.
Jimmy's never giving up. I know that for a fact. Me and Jimmy were old school. We were raised that way. It's embedded in my mind, his mind. Daniel, I embedded it in yours, or maybe Earl, embedded it in yours. And all I'm saying is, even RJ, so all you listeners out there, RJ honestly only knows what's told to him, which really, in all honesty, is not more than what you guys know. And that's a fact. And there's
Yeah.
no disrespect to RJ. It's because we're never going to tell our shit. We're never
Yep.
going to tell it.
Mm-hmm.
We will go behind the curtain as far as the business allows us to go. And that's what
Yep.
we're doing every
Yep.
single week. So, and that's the truth.
Yep. No, it is true. That is the truth. There's things that, like we've talked, not privately, not in a just general, we're catching up or whatever, and we'll be like, oh yeah, we can't talk about that on the show. It's like, yeah, we know, and then we don't do
Right.
it. It's just the
Right.
way it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you a perfect example, though, of how someone is protecting the business because people think they know, but they don't know for sure. And that's a fellow Canadian, Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
The scuttlebutt out there. Is he going to resign? Is he going to go back to WWE? Are they going to offer him a contract? Is it blah, blah, blah? Nobody knows. And you know what's great? The fact that nobody knows.
Where
Yep.
you at?
That's
All right,
what's
Jimmy, where
beautiful
are
about
you?
that. And you know what? This is why Chris Jericho is one of the
Best.
masters of
Yeah.
of 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 what he does and how he creates a buzz for himself.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do jack shit, and
Mhm.
people are talking about him. It's just a
Right.
mere
Mhm.
speculation, and it's
Oh,
great.
and then he likes a post on Instagram because why not? Why not like a
Right.
post on Instagram? Who
Thank you.
cares? It's talking
Yeah.
about him, so he's gonna like it.
Hmm.
And that just stirred the pot up more. And it even caused them to ask Tony Khan about him in his media scrum that had no idea he hasn't been on TV in months. Like, imagine, why are we talking about him?
Right.
And then he got brought up, and yeah. So
Well, let me
What was
ask you
the
guys
answer? Do
this.
you remember? Did you hear what the answer was? I don't
he
know.
said he would. His answer was something like, "I would love to have Chris back. Chris is a big part of this company from the very beginning. I would love to have Chris back."
Okay, perfect PR answer. No problem.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
so wouldn't it amount to this, guys? If he ultimately stays at AEW, at his point in his life, it's all about money, right? It's got to be,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's got to be. I mean,
I don't know. Does it though?
Mm.
I mean, doesn't it have to be about money? Because at this point of his life, he's at the end of his career. You would say, right?
I'm doing
So
what I'm
may,
saying. Go ahead.
so maybe he's whatever he's going to decide. I think no matter what, he's wanting to make sure it's his last hurrah, his final time, whatever we want to call it, his last
Hmm.
dance. He wants his final list. He wants to make sure that it's fun and everything he wants to do, and so maybe money's not an issue there. Maybe it's just about what's going to be the best for him when it comes to the end of his career.
Well, see, Daniel, that's exactly what I'm saying. In other
Oh,
words,
okay.
he's good on money. He's got money. Now, what you just said to end your career on the final stage, that's in WWE. It's not in AEW. Period.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Chris Jericho marketing his brand and also his music through that machine
It's
that is TKO?
there's a no thought process, guys. There's
Like,
a no
like
thought process.
obviously, he's smart enough not to sign over the exclusive rights to TKO for his music and his likeness and all that sort of
Mhm.
stuff. Uh, there's potential there, and again, everybody's speculating. Oh, it'd be great if he showed up at the Royal Rumble. I don't want him to show up at the Royal Rumble.
Mm-mm.
Too
Yeah.
predictable.
Yeah.
I'm. Everybody says, yeah, predictable, predictable. Sometimes predictable is good. In this case, no.
Where do you
You,
want
you
him,
mean
Jimmy? Where do you want him?
What I would love to see,
Well, first of all, is your wrestling thinking cap on?
of course it is.
Okay. Just
What
making
do you
sure.
think? See, because when you talk about someone like the final boss, The Rock, when does he show up every year?
WrestleMania.
Well, well,
WrestleMania season.
maybe.
Well, well, hear me out here. You never know.
Okay. All right.
Because let's say he does show up at WrestleMania and he goes on this long tirade about, now that John Cena is gone, his retirement, there's nobody left. There is no one here to carry the flag of the WWE. Now I have to go and dig deep and find someone, and then all of a sudden hit that music. Do you remember who interrupted The Rock in his
Yep.
debut?
Yeah.
Jericho.
Jericho.
Chris Jericho. Break the walls down, baby. That place will go banana.
It would.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it
But
would.
do we, on the other side of it though, do we, do you think that they should do Break the Walls, or do you think they're going to do the Judas one? Seeing,
Well, that
seeing
was
that
my-
he
that
has
was-
the rights to that as well.
You can do Break the Walls Down, and then that leads into Judas, because Break
Judas,
the Walls
okay.
Down is what people remember. And
Sure.
that was
Okay.
that was what they heard when he debuted with The Rock in the ring. And have Jericho turn the tables on The Rock, because The Rock in that debut, when Rock asked Jericho, he says, "Who the hell are you?" And Jericho started to answer him, and he said, "It doesn't matter who you are."
Yeah.
Great.
Turn the tables on him. Let Jericho hit him with that line.
Who do you think you are? Yeah.
I'm the final boss.
It doesn't matter who you are.
It's it. Hey, look.
I don't know.
The point for
I
me.
mean, they just did it with Cena and Punk. They did it. They flipped the script on that. Why not go flip that from night?
Yeah.
By the way, that happened on August 9th, 1999. So I don't know why I always remember that date, but I do.
See, but there you go.
Hmm.
There's something that's memorable, and it's embedded in everybody's mind. They may not remember the date, but they do remember that moment.
Yeah.
Right.
The biggest thing for me, guys, is this. All right, so if he signs back with AEW, then we know it's all about the money,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
because it's not about the platform. The platform is the WWE. There's no comparison. Jimmy, as you just said, it puts his band over. What do you think is more important to him, wrestling or that band? Guarantee right now in his life, it's that band. It ain't wrestling, because he's on the last stages of that. That band, he's thinking
Well,
probably.
in ring, anyways. Who knows what he's going to do behind the scenes?
Well, I'm just talking about either in ring or the band.
Oh, okay.
What's
If-
more
if-
important? What's more important to him right now?
can we all agree that Chris Jericho has a great mind for the business?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if he were to stay with AEW, I would love to see the boss there go, you know what? I've had my fun. I've played fantasy booking with my live LJN toys. Chris, you take over the book and run the place. I will just pay the bills.
Then I would be very happy.
Yeah.
I would be very
Because-
happy. But do you
because
think that's
here-
ever going to happen, bro?
Probably not, but you have someone who's been in the business, that knows the business, that has a mind for the business, that's no longer active in the ring, because that is a detriment sometimes, with all due respect to those who have done it, who have done both jobs. When you're the booker and you're also an active talent in the ring, sometimes your eyes don't see what you should see. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but now that if you separate yourself from being an active in-ring performer or an active in-ring talent, sometimes that's all you needed to help the entire picture.
Well, if he took over the booking, then the AEW would never ever be the same again.
That is true.
Hmm.
And you know what,
There you
Jimmy?
go.
Okay, I'll roll with that. I'll roll with that. If he stays at AEW and becomes basically inactive or special attraction and runs the business at AEW, or is the booker of that, okay, I would get that one. If you're just being paid as an in-ring talent and don't go to WB, that's insane. That is insane.
Yeah.
There's no option there. There's only one.
He already took the money, so
Exactly.
Yeah, no kidding.
really, from an in-ring standpoint, what's he got left to prove?
Nothing
Nothing.
in ring.
There.
Right. And what could you do with him in ring that he hasn't already done at AEW? Like, what could he possibly do that would set the world on fire in wrestling? Nothing at AEW. Seriously.
Well, they
But
do
i-
like
if
playing
there
with
is-
fire over there, so anyway.
They what?
They do like to play with fire over there, so like
But
literally.
I will say
burn
this much, and
houses
then we'll
down.
go.
Mhm.
I will say this, and then we'll go up to our third count. Close shop for the night. Uh, if there is something left in AEW, Chris Jericho will figure it out.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think, and like I said,
He
that's
can.
me. Yeah.
He can, but also, people will have to listen.